Hello, witches. So, we can just call out the elephant in the room, so to speak. And yes, my arm is in a sling. And I, hmm, I'm going to go rogue this morning. I'm going to use this as a teaching moment because for many, many reasons. First of all, my relationship with my physical body is just as important as my relationship to my spiritual practice and my relationship with my mind. My ability to do really effective divination is very closely interdependent on my relationship with my physical body. I will not do divination if my physical body needs my attention. I will not force my physical body to do something that might cause harm. And right now, using my arm, even in doing divination, my divination ceremony, even shuffling cards, would be pushing through it. And I don't do that. And I also think that it's really, really important for us to address the internalized ableism that is rampant in our community because we are neurodivergent, black sheep, cycle breaking weirdos. There's a lot of comorbidities with that we need to talk about as openly as possible. And part of Foundations, which is the initiation into our coven of neurodivergent witches, is includes looking at our relationship with our physical bodies because we were taught to hate so much of how we experience our lives, right? We were taught that we were broken and that the way that our uh, physical bodies engage with our incarnation is wrong and is a problem. We're taught that we're like living in a prison, right? And all of that speak influences our relationship with our magic, with world building magic, right? The deeper mysteries of witchcraft and the occult, like that is all tied together. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit. It's really important for you guys, for everyone, to never, ever, ever, ever put me on a pedestal, ever. I will start kicking, you will lose teeth. Don't like that's that's a horrible thing to do to a person, right? It's really important for you to remember that I am one of you, one of us. We are cousins in this. And I I too have a complicated relationship with my physical body. I have been clinically diagnosed autistic with ADHD, CPTSD, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have POTS and mast cell activation syndrome, and I'm epileptic. And all of this influences my everyday, and I will not ever heal my way out of that. Not through magical means, not through physical means. That is my relationship with my body. And my obsession with changing that is a freaking distraction, honestly, and keeps me from being able to show up in the fullness of who I am. We are taught to be obsessed with changing that, or taught that um, good health is a sign of your like moral standing in some way, that you can be good enough and obedient enough and spiritual enough that you won't be epileptic anymore, or you won't be autistic anymore. And what ends up happening is those of us that are in teaching capacities or mentorship roles, people believe in some way that we are not autistic anymore. And so we're held to these neurotypical standards that are just not fair, right? And uh, I think that it's important that you see how I take care of my body, my relationship with my body. I've done a lot of work in this area to be able to actually change my internal dialogue from speaking to myself as if I am an inconvenience to being in a position of advocating for the needs of this very complicated instrument that I get the privilege to engage with. I experience physical pain every single day, every day. That's a part of my natural lived experience as someone who does a lot of work behind the veil and in astral work. That physical pain is what keeps me incarnated. Otherwise, I wouldn't have such a strong tether to my physical body, which again is really important. It's really important that I stay incarnated as long as possible. And so that's a whole thing. Does anyone have any questions? If you want to know what I did, it's complicated because I'm hypermobile and I could sneeze and be holding my body in just the right position, and something will come out of joint and I'll have to like engage with that. I don't always know what I did. I'm suspicious. I suspect that an ocean's gonna roll their eyes at me, because the other thing that you should remember about me is I'm so freaking stubborn. I'm so stubborn, especially when I get like when I want to do a thing. Uh, and so what I did was I used the weed whacker, and I know every time I use, like, we call them weed whackers. I don't know what they're called. I know that even different parts of the United States calls them different things, but it's that I think they're called hedge trimmers also, I think. I don't know. So I used an electric powered weed whacker, which is much lighter than the like gas powered ones. And so I was thinking, "Oh, this is fine. I'll be fine," because I know that every time I have ever used a weed whacker in my whole life, it has laid me up. And I thought, "Oh, well, since it's so light, I won't have a problem with it." It's the motion that you use when you use one of those that just a whippersnippet, that is so cool. I really hope that I remember whippersnippet, because I'm gonna, oh my god, I wanna call it that. Thank you for sharing that with me, Michelle. But that whippersnippet kicked my whole ass, my whole ass. But I don't think that it was just that. Like, I think that's what started it and got it angry a little bit. And so the very next day, I built a pig house with Morgana. Not only did we build the pig house, but we carried it all the way out to the barnyard and set it up. And so, yeah, I think that did it too. It was very heavy. Just like this combination of kind of pushing myself further than I have in a really long time. And when I do physical activity, I have to be very conscious of my carriage, like how I'm holding my body, because my joints don't hold my body together. My muscles do. So I have to be aware of what I'm doing so that I don't cause myself harm like this. A whippersnipper. A whippersnipper's great too. Uh, so yes, a lot of my life is a balance of that. And another thing about this very complicated relationship with my life is that I'm able to do much deeper ancestral work. A lot of my ancestral work is in addressing the ways that we have been taught to be obsessed with control and undoing those ways within me, and the indoctrination of the big cappy pappy, so to speak. I talk about it in the grimoire of the ungovernable of this particular relationship. But so every time that I choose to meet my physical body with compassion, uh, and honor and respect, it helps me to undo those um, obsessions with control that have been passed down in my lineage, since my lineage, uh, it's so hard to say things on the internet. They're so judgy about the way you say things. Um, as a descendant of colonizers, it is my uh, responsibility to address the ways that I was taught uh, to exert control over my environment, those around me, but also with myself. That's where it begins. And so every time I choose to uh, engage internally with respect and with compassion is a really big thing. With compassion, then it undoes that. It undoes it, it changes your neural pathways. It relays the way that you think about everything. So, Helvy, I actually, can I still talk on what you said, even if it's just like uh just to I do I do a lot. I'm also like a gold star clutch and overachiever, and have been my whole life. And the whole ecosystem of this massive underground international community of witches. Ouch. I got my hands in all of it in one way or another. And I live on a homestead. This is the life of my dreams. And I get to teach new brooms. I get to help witches get a deeper relationship with their practice. My latest passion is in raising a the most influential coven of witches the world has ever seen. That's my latest thing. Now that I have everything I ever wanted, I want everyone around me to have that too. And so there's a balance. There are days that I can do more physical things, and there are days that I need to do more like the mental macro um, level stuff. So and I think it's really, really important for you guys to know that I would not be able to do this by myself. I am barely capable of independent living. And that's a terrifying thing to say in the United States of embarrassment. Um, Morgana and I work as a team. We work as one to navigate all of what's going on the homestead. And she's also in my coven. And she's one of the unbound. So we do a lot of work together and we support each other like that. I wouldn't be able to do this if I was like living in an apartment on my own, right? It just wouldn't happen. Wouldn't be able to. So I experience pain all the time. But I'm not resistant to it. Right? That's another thing that I noticed was, and part of the complex trauma is that I brace all the time. Like I'm bracing myself all the time. And I noticed that a lot of that bracing was because I was in resistance to experiencing the pain, right? Uh, I know that it's kind of twisty in the head to uh, actually allow my physical body to experience pain. But what that did is it made it to where the bracing muscles weren't getting involved in the pain. And the bracing from trying to be resistant to the pain actually made it to where I was experiencing more pain. And so when I started relaxing into it, it really changed that. Do I use medications to support my physical body when I'm having like a flare up like this? Absolutely. I believe that medication is there, that we seek support, and when our bodies are having a hard time navigating the human experience, and that's okay. And the guilt and shame about that is more problematic than the act. Pain is scary. Pain is scary. But if you remind yourself that, well, I know that I have experienced immense pain in my life. I've given birth to 3 children. I've also had spinal meningitis. I have, and then there's the chronic pain that I experience with all the other diagnoses. And reminding myself that I am capable of experiencing pain. And I'm allowed, I know it sounds strange, but I am allowed to feel physical pain. It's not going to end me. I am remarkably difficult to end, apparently. uh yeah. Heather. Yeah, it's actually Heather, it's actually a joke among the unbound because what was it, like 2 years ago? 2, maybe 3 years ago, I was saying that my retirement plan was to live in a nunnery with a bunch of neurodivergent witches, uh, like changing the world, supporting our local communities. And it only took me 2 years to do that. Weird Brook is a temple. Weird Brook is the 200-year-old homestead I live on. And it's a temple for neurodivergent witches. And like that only took me 2 years. And so I am in this phase where I want to see what I'm if that building the life of my dreams only took me 2 years, like what am I actually capable of? Right? And then you add in what am I actually capable of if I am doing this with countless other um, dedicated neurodivergent magical practitioners. What would we be capable of? Because each of us are capable of unimaginable things, right? And we have been taught to compete with each other. And a lot of the work that we do at the resource center is helping each other, us, through that indoctrination so that we can actually see each other from a more matriarchal perspective where we are all equal and our unique abilities add to the whole rather than seeing ourselves as like competition with each other. It takes a lot of work. This isn't something that you can just decide to do if you are the black sheep descendant of colonizers. There's a lot of work to do, but we can do it. It's not impossible. And in fact, we it's our birthright to do it as the black sheep, cycle breaking queerdo descendant of colonizers. But we need to do it together. We need to remember what it is to be in community because that's one of the things that we lost. Yeah. So yeah, I want to see uh how do I explain this? So there's a lot of work to do to get to the point where we have repaired our um the disconnection that we have within our lineage. It's going to take a lot of time to repair that relationship with our life, with each other, and with our environment. And to actually be able to experience interdependent relationships. And, there's been times where I've been overwhelmed by this work. I'm passionate about this work, by the way. I've been doing it for decades. Uh, it's gonna take time. It's really intimidating. I had a, like, vision, a couple of years ago where I was asked that if I knew that that it was in the imagery of a tree. I had a seed, and this seed was this work that I was doing. And if I knew that I would never be able to fully experience um, the benefit, the end result of my work, would I still do the work? Right? And this was in the imagery of a tree. Would I plant the seed of an apple tree if I knew I would never live long enough to eat of its fruit or stand in the shade? I knew that that it would be those that come after me that would benefit from this work that I did. Would I still do it? And of course, my answer was hell yes, I'm going to do it. I'm absolutely going to do this work. But every time we make those small choices, like meeting our body with compassion when our body needs more attention, that is that's so much work. It's more than what you think it is. Oh, Pandora, I appreciate your offer so much. I am good though. I am very, very well taken care of. Right. It's amazing to function within, again, an international community of psychics, very gifted magical practitioners. It's a completely different culture, but it's absolutely incredible. Very, very well supported. Well, so what am I doing for the rest of the day? I can tell you I'm not doing what I thought I was gonna be doing, but that's okay. I have mostly on Mondays, I have meetings with, different, support witches that are working again in this, like, massive ecosystem that we have going on. So we get together and talk about all of the different projects that we're doing and then, make collective decisions. Again, this is the whole ecosystem functions as a matriarchy. So there's a group of people that are involved in making the decisions about the community. So, and the business, like it's a whole business too, because we have to play in the big cappy pappy in order to find you guys. All right. I think that's it. I will I'll be back on Wednesday, actually. Wednesday, I'll be reading from the Grimoire of the Ungovernable, and then we're going to have an open Q&A. I'm going to do my best to rest and uh, not do a lot of lifting my arms stuff, which is so hard to do. It's so hard. All right. So until I see you again, if you can't be good at it. Bye.